Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to Insider Chatter, the show where we chat, argue, wax poetic about everything in the world of movie news. I'm your host, Mike, the novice cinephile. Joining me, of course, is my co-host, Nate Richard. He knows movies. Nate, how you been, buddy?
I'm doing pretty great. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. I'm glad to be here talking this week's movie news. This is being recorded on Friday, April 25th, 2025. You're probably listening to this on Monday, but hey, there's plenty of stuff that broke this past week that we're going to get you caught up on. We've got 6 great stories this week. Before we get into that, though, Nate, your week, how's it been? What you been watching? Anything you want to talk about?
So, as you know, and as I've annoyingly texted you for the last probably 2 weeks, I've been pit pilled. I am finally caught up with the pit. I have 3 episodes left to watch. I am pumped. I'm probably going to watch them after this. Have not even watched Andor season 2 yet. My roommate was like, "Can we watch it tonight?" I'm like, "No, it's pit time."
Man, for the folks who don't know what the pit is, do you want to just give a brief idea? Because I only know the show exists because you texted me about it. So what's the pit?
So it's a new show on Max, and it's from the creators of ER. And Noah Wiley, who was on ER, he's the star of it.
Mhm.
But the show isn't like other. It's a medical drama, but it's not like any medical drama that you know of. So, like 24, it's set all over the course of a day. It's a 15-hour shift, and all the episodes take place during real time. It's 15 episodes, so 15-hour shift. And apparently a lot of doctors, actually one of my parents' neighbors, she watched it. She works in an ER, and it's like the talk of the town in the medical world, because it's like, this is the most accurate depiction of what it is like in an ER.
Yeah.
It's heavy at times, but it's extremely entertaining. It's not like after I watch an episode, I'm like, shit, I can't watch anymore. You'll be wanting to watch a new episode ASAP. It's great. I love the characters. I could go on and on all day. I love this show. It is honestly, this has been a great year for TV with Severance season 2 and Adolescence, but The Pit may be my most cherished show of them all, and that's saying something.
That's because it's been nothing but great TV this year so far. That pitch alone has me sold, though. The 15 hours, 15 episodes deal is that's so unique, that's so creative. And I loved ER, full stop.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be right up my alley when I get a chance to check it out. I've been watching The Last of Us like everyone else, and this past episode 2, destroyed me once again. If you played the game, you know. If you watched the show, you know. I'm not going to spoil it here. Caitlin Dever is just so good.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, her performance, it's because I've been caught up with all of these big award Emmy shows, and Caitlin Dever is gunning for that Emmy with her performance in that last episode. Her monologue during a certain scene that I won't say.
Yeah.
Just floored me.
Yeah. It was a hole in one, as the Behind the Clickers chat would say. But yeah, we got news to get into, guys. Also, let us know what you guys are watching. What do you want us to talk about? We can review it on the chatter after. Let us know in the comments down below. But first story of this week, it's a big one. Greta Gerwig finds her White Witch. We've got a news story coming in. Nate, do you want to talk about the new Chronicles of Narnia movie?
Yes.
Go.
It's the new franchise. So it's Emma Mackey, who is going to play the White Witch. It was initially going to be Charlie XCX. I think you and I both were like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Thankfully, that fell through. And it was reported it was between Emma Mackey and Margaret Qualley from The Substance and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I guess Emma Mackey got it. She worked with Greta Gerwig on Barbie. And I think she's always been, because she's great on Sex Education, she's always been on the cusp of movie stardom, because she's getting all these high profile roles. She was one of the finalists to play Lois Lane before Rachel Brosnahan got it. And so I think this casting choice makes sense. I wish still it was Saoirse Ronan because I think she would have been perfect. But
Yeah,
I
so been a
mean,
lack of Saoirse Ronan for the last couple of Greta projects,
I
interestingly.
know it's, and you would think because like she kind of has that Tilda vibe
Yeah.
that it would be her. So I don't know. I think it's. I still don't know what to make of it. I'm sure it will be good since it's Greta. I The book it's adapting, The Magician's Nephew, which is the first book, takes place before The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, has not been adapted.
Yeah.
But I remember I read it. I can't really remember much about it. You know, it's Daniel Craig is in it, who I'm excited to see him. And we also have Meryl Streep as Aslan, which I
I
still don't know
forgot that
how I
was
feel
new.
about that either.
Yeah, this is a unique interpretation of the mythos. If you watch the Disney movie Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, it's like 20 years old now. Came out like in 2005.
Shoot.
Gosh, I feel so old saying that. um, great film, but yeah, this is set like 1,000 years before Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. This is the beginning of Narnia. This is like the creation of Narnia.
Mm.
And so bringing in Emma Mackey as the White Witch, playing a supporting character in that story, and like the first foray into this world, I am really excited about. I do think the Aslan casting is interesting. I don't hate it. I do want to see how they tackle it because Aslan, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you're going to see this image that we have up here. Aslan, being a male lion, has all this gigantic mane. And traditionally, female lions don't have that. So that's just visually, Aslan will look different if he's supposed to be a stereotypical like female lion. They can just play around with it and say we don't care and do the thing anyway. Um, but I am interested to see where Greta takes this. I am glad that Charlie XCX is not in this role of the White Witch. I love her. I love her music. I just don't think she would have been a good fit here.
No. I will say, and this just popped up into my mind, and I think I've thought of it before. What if Meryl Streep is still playing a male Aslan?
Yeah.
I mean, she's one of the greatest actresses ever for a reason. She's won 3 Oscars. She could do a male voice pretty easily. I can
Yeah,
imagine.
that's why I said they could just be like, well, we like Meryl Streep in this role, and Aslan's going to just look the same. So it's like, it could just be a non issue, but that does make you go, like, oh, interesting.
I wouldn't be shocked if that's what they do, because I don't know if they would want to divert too much. Like,
Yeah.
Aslan is like pivotal. That's Jesus Lion.
Yeah,
And
that's valid.
Netflix needs this movie to work.
Do we
There's
have
gonna
like an
be,
estimated budget for this one yet?
it's
Do we know?
probably big. I
Yeah.
don't know. They haven't said, but like they're giving it a full theatrical release in IMAX, which they've never really done. They tried with Glass Onion, but it wasn't really. It was just a week long.
Yeah, it was a limited like release.
If they change Aslan, I mean, there would be another culture war, and I think there would be boycotts that would bite this movie in the butt.
They're making it woke.
Yeah. But like, if you just keep Meryl Streep, but keep that design, and it could just be like, oh yeah, she's just doing a deep voice, which I think Meryl Streep can do.
Yeah. I do think it's interesting that Daniel Craig is in this movie though, and he's not playing Aslan. That's just funny. Yeah. It's like, oh, that would have made sense, but no, okay. Meryl Streep, love her. Let's do it.
I was talking to some non-cinephile friends who like heard about that casting, and I was like, you know, Daniel Craig is also in this movie, and they're like, oh, he could have been Aslan. It was like, that would have been sick. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's not.
Yeah, and it happens. Again, I don't think Greta has ever made a bad movie.
No.
So I trust her fully on this project. I love the casting of the White Witch. Emma Mackey's going to crush this role. Oh, yeah. I'm interested to see, do we know if this is a multi-picture deal that Greta Gerwig has with Netflix?
She's doing 2.
Okay. So I guess it's fair to assume that she's doing this prequel and that she's going to do Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe next, presumably.
I would assume that would be the case, unless they're doing like the 2. If It would be weird if they're doing like the lesser novels, like she's doing Magician's Nephew and The Horse and His Boy. Like,
Yeah.
what if they just did that? That would be a little weird. So,
A little weird, yeah. This being a prequel before the first book, I think just makes sense to lead right into the story that we all know.
yeah.
But speaking of prequels, we gotta talk Hunger Games.
Yay.
Hunger Games is back. We got another book that just came out fairly recently. I have it queued up in my Libby,
Yeah.
but I haven't gotten to it yet. We did get more casting news for this one. Do you want to talk about it, Nate? You've been reading the books. You can help me out here. I have a lot of gaps in my knowledge.
I have been reading the book. I'm about like 25% through it. I got it on Libby.
Nice.
Like I put it on hold the day it came out. So playing this book, Sunrise on the Reaping, it is another prequel, and it is about Haymitch, who in the movies was played by Woody Harrelson. It's about the article I clicked on played audio. Sorry about that. But
We didn't hear it. You're fine.
Sunrise on the Reaping. This is about Haymitch's Hunger Games, which obviously he did win, but this was the 50th Quarter Quell, which in the books, if you didn't know, the Quarter Quell is like each time, like the 25th Hunger Games, the 50th Hunger Games, and then Catching Fire, it's the 75th. They always do something crazier. This time, Haymitch is like facing off against like twice the number of tributes than there would be in the usual Hunger Games.
Oh,
and playing young Haymitch is Joseph Zada. Zada? How do you pronounce that? Do you know?
We're gonna go with Zeta for now, and comments can get mad at us later. Sorry, guys.
He has not been in anything before. I guess for a while it was rumored to be Charlie Plummer from Spontaneous, which I love that movie. So I was kind of surprised that it was this guy, but it kind of makes sense. I think this guy's still like 18, which is more in line with the age. I remember Mike Feist was rumored to play young Haymitch for a bit, and I'm like, he's already like 30.
Yeah, that's a little too old.
He can't play a guy who just turned 16. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not going to fall for it. And then playing Lenore Dove Baird, who is Haymitch's girlfriend in the book, and she is a descendant of Lucy Gray Baird, who, if you saw The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, that was the character Rachel Ziegler played.
Yeah.
And that will be played by Whitney Peake, who she was in Hocus Pocus 2, I guess, is one of the main girls. I did see that movie. I don't remember much of it, but she was in that. She was also in the Gossip Girl reboot. But that's like the other big role. But they just announced the other two castings. So McKenna Grace, who was the lead in the last two Ghostbusters movies, she's playing Mesa Lee, who is another tribute from District 12. She's a spoiled rich girl who wears the Mockingjay pin that Katniss later gets in the first Hunger Games book.
Yeah.
And then the other casting, which is one that had been rumored for a while, is Jesse Plemons has been cast as Plutarch Heavensby, who in the movies was played by the late Philip Seymour Hoffman. And that casting is the one that has me the most excited because one, like even reading the book, I can just picture Jesse Plemons in that role.
Yeah.
I think he has that mannerism of like a young Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He does. Once you said he's playing the same character, I'm like, oh, I see it instantly. My brain just like put the two together. I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. Having not read this book yet, but adoring the first two Hunger Games movies and the first two Hunger Games books, everything you're pitching me is like, oh yeah, this is gonna be freaking awesome. I love Haymitch as a character. Woody Harrelson provided like a great performance. So learning more about that character, and it's just gonna like strengthen his time in the role even more. Like once you get back to movie one, you're gonna be like, oh, I get this guy now, and I get why he's like this, and that just kind of enriches the story. That's what I love about prequels. It just changes your perspective a little bit. It doesn't necessarily give you something completely new all the time, even though I think this one will, because it is a completely different cast of characters. That makes me excited.
I will say, even though this and Songbirds and Snakes are prequels, they still have a lot of surprises in them. Songbirds and Snakes was President Snow's story, and I remember when that was first announced, everybody was like, why are you doing like the bad guy that nobody likes? Why aren't you doing Haymitch? They finally gave us Haymitch, but I will just say both of these books, both of these stories, they're downers, even more so than the original three. Like, they're messed up. And
that tracks. I mean, because again, seeing how depressed Haymitch is throughout the original movies, like, of course, life was rough before this revolution happened. You know? That's one thing. Not to make this a Star Wars rant, but that's one thing the Star Wars prequels kind of annoy me about. Is like, I think I would have liked to see more Palpatine and like how we get to that point where they take over the galaxy instead of just like fun adventures with Anakin and Obi-Wan. That's cool, but it's like, how did we get to the point where we had like dictatorships taking over the galaxy for like 50 years? That would have been cool. And there might still be a place for that. Somehow Palpatine will return again for his own spinoff movie.
But there is more rumored casting for this as well. I know Kieran Culkin is apparently being eyed to play the young version of Stanley Tucci's character, game show host Caesar Flickerman. That will be interesting because completely different energy, but these movies always stack up. Like, for the younger characters, they'll do up and comers. Like Jennifer Lawrence, she had not won her Oscar yet when she was cast as Katniss.
Yeah.
Josh Hutcherson was like a former child star. This was like his big like comeback or step into like more mature acting. But they've always stacked it with like A-list adult stars. And
for sure.
Kind of shows with Jesse Plemons. The last one had Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage. This one's Jesse Plemons, Kieran Culkin. I guess Ralph Fiennes is being eyed to play President Snow.
Ooh.
Is the other one that I've
That's
heard
great,
about.
actually.
It is. And Elle Fanning is being rumored to play a younger Effie, Elizabeth Banks' character.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this sounds... If they manage to land all of those actors, obviously, this is probably the most stacked cast ever. I doubt they get all of them, but... Yeah, like... You mentioning that, I forget just like how prestigious the Hunger Games has become, where they do get like A-list talent every single time. And frankly, all of the movies have been generally well received. So like, surprisingly, this has become one of like the better like blockbuster franchises of like the last decade.
I feel like Fernanda Torres is the other one from I'm Still Here. She's being eyed for a role. But I think it's largely because they don't have to sign on for multiple movies unless it's Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, these are movies about death games. They're only going to be there for a movie anyway.
That's fair. One and done deals, easy to commit.
Yeah. Good pay.
As opposed to, 7 Avengers movies or whatever the Marvel cast used to sign up for?
Or all the actors who signed up for the Harry Potter HBO show. I mean, that's...
They're signing on for like 10 seasons, right? Or something crazy like that.
7 seasons. So goodbye, John Lithgow. He's only going to be Dumbledore for the rest of his career, probably.
Props. We've got more news to get to, though. We've got 2 Sydney Sweeney stories. This first one, I guess I'll take the lead on. Sydney Sweeney is gonna star in a split fiction movie. This is going to be brought to you by Jon M. If you remember Jon Chu, he made the incredible movies In the Heights and Wicked Part 1 and Wicked Part 2 for good. If you guys haven't played Split Fiction, this is a new game. Like, it came out in the last like 3 or 4 months, I would say. It's a 2-player co-op game, basically for the movie form, right? It's a blend of science and fantasy following pairs of authors, Mio and Zoe. They become trapped in worlds that they wrote. It's an isekai, if you like anime. And the 2 of them have to work together, and they're bouncing from this multiverse dimension of one person wrote a sci-fi story, the other person wrote a fantasy story, And so the movie's going to be half fantasy, half sci-fi as we jump between different worlds and different stories that they've created. The game is freaking awesome. If you haven't played it, go play it. If you want to see someone play it, our friends Didge and Jamie actually streamed it on their channels, so go check that out. I think they played through the entire game. It's a great time. I am so excited for this movie because it is literally my two favorite genres, one of my favorite directors, and one of the hottest actresses in Hollywood. I mean that in two different ways. I am sorry. But Nate, how do you have any experience with this video game or this IP? And if not, what about the talent behind the movie? Does that excite you?
I have very limited knowledge of this video game. I think the only knowledge I had was Video Game Donkey made a video on it, so I just like watched his commentary on it. It seems interesting. I'll have to watch that playthrough because I only play on PC, and I don't know if this game is cross-platform. I think just
we probably can play through Game Pass. We could probably try it out.
I think more so like I like this concept. I think it seems interesting for a movie. I think it works probably better as a video game.
Yeah.
I'll just be curious to see if this actually happens. Because Sydney Sweeney keeps getting cast in like so much, and I've become a big fan of her for a variety of reasons, like you said. I'm sorry.
We're not cutting that out. It's staying in. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Big fan. Big fan. Sydney Sweeney. Fan. I wonder why, but yes.
I like Jon M a lot. I mean, Crazy Rich Asians, In the Heights, Wicked, like all three of those movies I had like no interest in before they came out. Like, yeah, you were there before Wicked. Like, I was like, this movie's going to suck. I'm like, I'm going to hate this. And then I walked in and I was like so curmudgeon. And then I walked out and I texted you and I was like, that was like one of the best movies I saw this year.
You were a changed man. Legit. It was incredible. This man saw the light, everybody, after he watched Wicked Part 1.
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie a lot. And so he's gone from like directing Justin Bieber documentaries to making like really good like crowd-pleasing movies that just feel very life-affirming and kind of remind me why I like going to the movies.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, I think Split Fiction, again, the story is a lot of fun. You're right. I do think it probably works better in video game format than a movie format. That said, this is where they can just be like a loose adaptation, and like the idea of jumping between sci-fi and fantasy is the hook. The story of the game itself, they probably are going to like try and streamline that a little bit because in the video game, these are authors and we're going in their actual stories that they have written and like the narratives they have written. And that is just way too messy for a movie. So maybe pare it down till we go through one sci-fi book and one fantasy book, or at least just the worlds that they made, not at their actual narratives, and like they can craft their own narrative. That might be cool.
Sounds kind of like Assassin's Creed a little bit, is it?
Kind of, yeah. From the broad strokes. Obviously, gameplay is very different.
Yeah,
but yeah, I am
that movie.
I am so interested in this because Hazelight Studios, EA, they worked on this. Ton of fun, great video game, great talent behind it. But this isn't the only Sydney Sweeney video game news that we're talking about today. And I was too lazy to make another image, so we're sticking with Split Fiction for right now.
Yay.
But Sydney Sweeney and Michael Bay teaming up. That's a banger. I talked about Split Fiction. Nate, you talk about this one.
Hell yeah. So, Sydney Sweeney and Michael Bay are teaming up for a movie based on the video game Outrun, which, when I first heard that name, I was like, what the hell is Outrun? So, right. Outrun is an arcade racer. It's a lot like Spy Hunter or one of those kinds of things. So, this is going to be, they don't have a lot of story to go off of. I'm guessing it's going to be more like a Fast and Furious kind of thing. But
I'm sold.
Michael Bay directing, Sydney Sweeney. I mean, we know how Michael Bay likes to capture beautiful women. That's a thing. That's not even me being a sicko. That's what he does. But
Oh my goodness. You're not wrong.
I've always been a defender of Michael Bay, Transformers aside. He has like 2 movies in development right now. He has one with Will Smith that was announced a couple months ago that's going to Netflix. And as like a Bad Boys super fan, like I really want that. But as soon as this was announced, I'm like, I kind of want this too. Like, I don't know anything about this arcade game. I just want to see Sydney Sweeney looking hot and racing cars in a Michael Bay movie.
The amount of explosions are going to be obscene in this movie.
Both on and off screen.
Heyo. But no, yeah, like I'm down. I'm always down for a stupid Michael Bay movie. Like they're always a fun time. The only Michael Bay movies I really have beef with are some of the Transformers sequels. But like anything away from that franchise, or even just like the first movie in that franchise, I'm like, yeah, it's dumb, but it's a lot of fun.
I like the third one. But did you see his last one, Ambulance, with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, I missed that one.
That movie's really good. That's Isaac Gonzalez is also in that. Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Highly recommend it. And again, it's a lot of like car chases. So that might give you a good sense of what this movie could be.
I made the image. You're welcome,
everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for this. Of course, I'm just glad to get another Michael Bay film. Hopefully, it's as crazy and outlandish as we hope it to be. But speaking of crazy and outlandish, we're gonna move on to our next topic. We had a crap ton of trailers come out this week. We've got new trailers for Wednesday season 2, Weapons, Predator, Badlands. Nate, we're just gonna chat about Wednesday for a bit as this trailer plays. What did you think of season 1?
I liked season 1. It was a lot of fun. It was very watchable. I don't think it's like the greatest show ever, but I get why it caught on. I mean, Jenna Ortega, like, I know she's been like, oh, I'm already done with this show, but like, she's good at this role. Like, she is perfect. And I think half the reason why the show works is because it's her working with Tim Burton and the Addams Family. Is like a match made in heaven to begin with.
For sure.
And when they first said, oh, it's a Wednesday standalone show, I'm like, I don't care. I want the whole Addams Family. The fact you get Jenna Ortega, who, I mean, she's going to be an actress who we're going to be talking about for a very long time. And I'm just excited. It looks like more of the same. But, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, one thing I really enjoyed about the teaser is it just recaptures the humor of the character, like her going through TSA and just says weapon after weapon after weapon, which if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you probably have seen. If you're the audio-only listeners anywhere else, subscribe to YouTube, chatafter.com. But yeah, so I was really excited for this small teaser. It's just nice to have the show back. I do love season 1. I don't think I was as high as a bunch of other people, but I think I gave it like a 3.5 star when I reviewed it for Geek Vibes. So I'm just happy to go back into that world. Like he said, Tim Burton, Addams Family, he was born to make an Addams Family adaptation. Like his aesthetic is seamless. It doesn't even feel like, oh, this is a Tim Burton project. It's like, oh, this is just the Addams Family. And I finally get all of his other work is just built up to the Addams Family.
Yes.
I did want to talk about the next show we had though. Predator. We have another Predator movie. And this teaser, man, is phenomenal. I was so excited. Did we know this was coming, or was this like a shadow drop? Because it just popped up in my feed and I'm like, oh snap. We got another Predator movie.
They dated it a while back and they showed like footage, I guess, at CinemaCon. I can't say much and I can't say how, but I know quite a bit about this movie. So I'll let you do a lot of the talking and speculation. But yeah, I thought this trailer was great. I mean, I was already excited for this movie to begin with, knowing what I know about it. And this was just like, oh shit, they're really pulling it off. Like,
yeah, We can get into it a little bit if you want. I
Yeah,
love
sure.
it. Looks like we're on the Predator homeworld. I love, again, the director of Prey.
Mhm.
Prey is one of my all-time favorite movies already.
So good.
Like I adored Prey, the setting and all of that. So getting the director back from that movie, we look like we're on a different planet. I don't know if this is the homeworld of the Predators, but it's so interesting how the director's coming back, giving us a different look at this world, and I really appreciate that. I also love that it looks like we might have a Predator protagonist from the
Yes.
looks of it, which is really cool. Also, the sword is freaking awesome. Uh,
Yes.
I'm gonna let you chime in when you feel like you can. I know you said there's some
I
things you can't say, but
I will say the things that are in the trailer, which yes, they've confirmed it is a Predator as the lead. And then if you go back to that scene where Elle Fanning is tied up to the tree
ooh, yeah, we'll find it.
and her
I'll let it
eye,
play
eyes go to white. Yep. Oh,
right here.
there. You
Mhm.
see the Wayland Yutani logo, which, if you're familiar with the Alien franchise, that is the main corporation in the Alien movies.
Right.
So that is very interesting. I don't think we're going to see any xenomorphs or anything like that in this movie, but it does establish that, I think both Dan Trachtenberg and Fede Alvarez have been like, oh, it would be sick if we could like co-direct an AVP movie. Like they've said that in numerous interviews. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're building to, because it feels like
Yeah.
Fede isn't done with Alien either. And they feel very similar as like filmmakers and their senses and different things. And I think that could be cool. And this movie, it just looks, what I know is this will be the biggest, like largest scale for a Predator movie ever. And um it kind of reminds me a little bit of the I think it looks better, but than the Last Planet of the Apes movie, where it's like it was mainly that young kid, young Noah, and then you
Yeah.
just had the girl on the side. Like, I know Elle Fanning is a popular actress. She's not the lead. This is the Predator. But yeah, I think it looks great. And if Prey is anything to go by, I think Dan Trachtenberg is going to knock it out of the park because he also has that animated thing. Like Disney is entrusting him with this whole Predator franchise, and they're just letting him go off and do what he wants.
I'm so glad they're letting him cook because
Yeah,
again, I loved Prey, and that like not getting an official like theatrical run made me so heartbroken. Like seeing it on the big screen, seeing it in IMAX would have been a dream, but
yeah.
even not IMAX, seeing it on a standard big screen would have been a ton of fun. Um, and I just hate that I didn't get that opportunity. But I'm glad they're like, hey, we're still giving you the keys to the kingdom. You can do what you want. Uh, and you pitching the concept of a possible Alien versus Predator movie just made me so freaking excited. Because as you know, I am not a huge horror guy at all, but there are three things that I like: Scream, Alien, Predator. And so I'm sold. I'm sold.
I'm excited.
We've got another trailer here. I know what you did last summer. This was okay. I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I have never seen any of these movies. I just know the originals. They came out like late 90s, early 2000s, written by Kevin Williamson, who did the Scream movies, but they never really caught on as much as Scream did.
Yeah,
This looks horrible. Um, it
no
just looks.
mincing the words.
I think this looks terrible. I mean, I know the original movies aren't great either, and the director of this, I liked her last two movies, Jennifer Caton Robinson. She did that movie with Camila Mendez and Maya Hawke that was on Netflix, Do Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Super like underrated, really fun, kind of a throwback to like the Clueless kind of, or Clueless mixed with like Heathers. Like it was really, really entertaining.
Yeah,
Um, but this movie, it looks. I mean, they're even doing the thing that the last Scream movie made fun of is they're reusing the name of the original movie. And like this movie doesn't seem like it has a sense of humor to it like Scream does. It looks like a stereotypical like legacy sequel slasher. I like this cast, but no, this looks bad.
We're moving on to weapons because
Hell yeah, weapons.
This is only a 45-second teaser, but I'm like, yeah, this is an improvement over the last one we were just talking about, so I'm in.
I am a barbarian bro. Barber bro.
Yeah.
I love Zach Kreger. And this movie was supposed to come out in January 2026. They moved it all the way up to the summer because they're so confident that this movie is a banger.
Wow. I didn't realize it got moved up that far.
I mean, I have so much confidence that this movie's going to rock. I mean, again, Barbarian, it's right up there with Jordan Peele and what he did with Get Out as like one of the best horror directorial debuts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think I even hold it over like Ari Aster and Hereditary. Like Barbarian was a movie that just blew me away.
Barbarian, I actually have seen it. It is really good. I was told not to watch Hereditary by a friend, and so I did not watch Hereditary.
Probably, you can't do horror. It's freaky. It'll fuck with you.
Shout out to JLo for making sure I never watched that movie. I appreciate it.
I love it. It's probably like top 3, the horror.
Oh, wow. But yeah, Barbarian was really good, so I am interested to see this one. We did get another trailer. This is Fountain of Youth. This one I'm excited for. This came out yesterday, the time of recording. We got Natalie Portman. We got John Krasinski. This is a Guy Ritchie movie on Apple. I thought this was really fun, honestly. I mean, it's got the Guy Ritchie vibe, and either love him or you hate him, I guess. It depends. I personally love it, so I'm automatically sold. I love these two actors, so I'm in. Yeah. What did you think?
I think it looks fun. I mean, I really love Guy Ritchie. This kind of seems like what he did with the Sherlock Holmes movies. It feels kind of like that mixed with like The Mummy, but modern day.
Yeah.
It looks, I mean, I don't know how it'll be, like, because it's a streaming movie, but I mean,
Guy Ritchie. Apple, though, and they are better than Netflix, to be fair.
I mean, they did make Ghosted.
Okay, you didn't have to bring Ghosted into this, but you're not wrong. That's fair. That's a valid
They
take.
made some turbo stinkers. This movie looks
you brought up a generational stinker, man. It's so funny. Yikes.
This movie looks far better, and I think it's because it's Guy Ritchie involved. And Guy Ritchie, yeah, he's made some not great movies, but lately he's just been so consistent with like, I'm glad I watched that movie. It wasn't the best thing I'll see this year, but it was just a good time. And that's what I think this will be. Like, apparently the script like started a massive bidding war before Apple got to it. Like, people were like pumped about this script. And Natalie Portman, I mean, she's picky about what she does. You can't just recruit her for like a dumb movie.
Love and Thunder.
Okay, but that was like contract.
I got him back so fast, guys, after Ghosted. It was hilarious.
But that was a contract.
Sure.
I like this. I'm excited for this. And it's nice to have some of these movies on streaming where I'm like, I feel like if I saw that in a theater, I would be like, I don't know if I love this, but on streaming, I feel like streaming is great for mid-budget movies like this.
Yeah.
That, weren't going to make like a ton of money at the box office, but we're just decent, enjoyable movies.
Yeah, you don't want it to come out and like bomb, No. And it's like, I don't know how well it's going to do, but like, you put John Krasinski and Natalie Portman in the little thumbnail on the Apple TV icon, and people are like, oh, what's this? And they check it out and they have a fun time. There's a place for streaming movies for sure. I just wish more of them were good. This one looks like it has the potential to be good.
I think it could be good.
But yeah, like the mid-budget movies, like you were saying, on streaming, I have hopes for. I haven't seen the last trailer we're about to talk about.
Hell yeah.
But Heads of State, we've got John Cena. You probably can't see him, but he's here in frame. I'm sorry. And Idris Elba reuniting after the Suicide Squad. I assume this is a comedy. I know nothing about this.
It's an action comedy where, if you can't see from the trailer, John Cena is playing the president of the United States.
Oh my gosh.
Which I wish I lived in that world. That would be incredible. He's like a former action star who became like an actor. So I guess he's like if Ronald Reagan was actually cool and based.
Or if Arnold Schwarzenegger could run for president.
I guess. And Idris Elba is playing the Prime Minister of the UK. So like unlike reality, all like the real in this film, every world leader is like a jacked, cool guy that you would want to hang out with.
Oh my goodness. I want to go to that reality as opposed to where we are now currently.
And so this movie, it just seems like a cheesy, like 90s kind of Shane Black inspired action comedy. You also have my boy Jack Quaid in this movie, which
Superman.
Never have enough of him. Priyanka Chopra Jonas is also in this as kind of like their mediator or whatever. It just looks fun, and it looks better than most of these streaming movies. Amazon also, they just had that action movie with Viola Davis playing the president that I was kind of pumped for, and I heard it was horrible. There he is.
There's our guy. Jack, if you're listening, join the show. We'd love to have you.
Yes.
We got to talk to the final season of The Boys when it drops.
Yes.
But no, yeah, this is a Prime Video movie. It looks dumb. It looks fun. Again, there's a time and place for streaming movies. Hopefully, this is on the better end of the spectrum. I love dumb, fun action flicks in the summer, right? Like, this is the summer blockbuster type of vibe. We're just like, we're here to have a couple laughs and a good time.
And it's the guy who did Nobody, the first Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. So I kind of have a little more confidence for this compared to John Cena does a lot of these action comedies. Like the one he did with Paul Feig, the Jackpot with Aquafina, that movie was horrible. Yeah. He's done he did like Freelance, that one with Alison Brie that has like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. But like this one, like I trust this director. And I mean, like you said, him and Idris Elba have proven chemistry.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
If anything, the movie will be at least like watchable.
Yeah. Like you said, they have that proven chemistry from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And so if it's at least passable, the jokes should land, you know, like if everything else sucks, it is what it is. But like, if you can't take advantage of their natural like chemistry and charisma and humor, you failed miserably, I fear. Speaking of failures, apparently Sinners was a failure earlier this week, but now it's a box office sensation. Yeah, so Sinners came out last week. We both loved it. We didn't get a chance to talk about the movie on an episode of The Chatter After, but we can give our thoughts briefly here. But we want to get into this strange story regarding its box office. Variety and the New York Times were basically questioning if this film is going to make a profit. The strong box office from its opening weekend and its strong legs kind of fell on deaf ears as Variety questioned if it would make a profit. We actually have The Wrap recapped all of this happening last week. There was essentially an article. I'm going to try and find the tweet. I'm not pulling up Twitter on the screen, you guys, because it is Twitter. And that is now risky business.
Oh, yeah.
But this headline says Sinners has amassed $61 million in its global debut. It's a great result for an original R-rated horror film. Yet the Warner Bros. Release has a $90 million price tag before global marketing expenses. So profitability remains a ways away. And it's just an interesting story because they're questioning if Sinners can make money, even though it had one of the biggest openings, I think, for an original movie since the pandemic. Am I right on that?
It did. It has the record because it beat out Nope.
It beat Nope. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it caught up to Nope. Yeah, I missed that. That's awesome. But yeah, so we had weird press, and this tends to happen a lot with black made films, quite frankly, where it's like, oh, but will it do X, Y, and Z? And thankfully, people are still good in this world. We had tweets all across the board kind of shaming this. We had Ben Stiller saying, in what universe does a $60 million opening for an original studio movie warrant this headline? Ben Stiller, you are correct. We love you. But also, get back to work. We got another season of Severance to get to.
Yes.
That all said, this movie only had a 27% drop in its box office going into second weekend. One of the lowest drops in it, like recent memory, like within like the last 15 years or so, I'd say. And it's already on track to make 100 mil. Remember, the budget is apparently 90 mil, not counting marketing yet. So it will most likely at least make its budget back very soon. Okay. Talk about Sinners, Nate. Talk about the box office drama. We can talk about the movie too, because it's freaking awesome and it deserves at least a second.
First off, I love that movie and I'm already seeing it. I'm seeing it for the second time tomorrow because I live in Indianapolis, which usually I bemoan, but we do have the benefit of having a real IMAX theater, one of the few like real IMAX theaters owned by IMAX in the entire world. So
I'm so jealous.
We're one of only 10 movie theaters like in the world that's showing Sinners in 70 mil. So I got to see it. It is my favorite movie of the year. I would not be shocked if it still is come December. It will inevitably be in my top 3. I mean, I love the movie. And yeah, the Variety, New York Times, Sinner stories, they just read weird to me. It's always kind of annoyed me how Variety reports on stuff, but like this feels especially weird because it's like they're doomsaying it. No movie's gonna make back its money opening weekend unless it's like a Marvel movie. But even then, most Marvel movies don't do that.
Why? Yeah, they expect. Like, did they really expect this R-rated horror movie to make what 150 mil in a weekend?
And it's a hard R. I mean, it's very violent. There's sex in it. I mean, it's not like it's like a 4-quadrant family movie. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna have an uphill battle, but it's like the movie did well. Like, that is nothing to be like, oh, it's not gonna make a profit. It did exceptionally well, and I think it's power to the marketing, but I also think I've had this kind of theory that some directors are kind of like the new movie stars. Yeah. I think sure. Jordan Peele fits that. I think M. Night Shyamalan fits that. I think Quentin Tarantino obviously still fits that. Christopher Nolan, I think is the biggest example of that. But I think Ryan Coogler is that too. Greta Gerwig is the other one. But I think Ryan Coogler is that too. I mean, he really had such a cool like story from Fruitvale Station, a very, very small movie that is, I mean, for anyone who hasn't seen it, please go watch it. But if you're if you don't want to watch a downer, if you can't handle like a downer movie, maybe save it for another time.
Go watch Creed instead, guys. It's great. It's not a downer.
Yeah. Creed, then he made Creed, which is my personal favorite of his as a Rocky fan. But that was like a mid-budget. Then he did Black Panther, which was like exceeded everybody's expectations. Great movie. And then Wakanda Forever, which he went through hell making that movie. And with everything from losing from the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman to Letitia Wright's like injury on set through like having to rewrite that movie like so many times. It's like a miracle that movie turned out to be pretty damn good still. Like it's not as good as the first movie, but like the fact that it turned out good compared to like a lot of these other recent Marvel movies, that's a miracle. And I mean, Sinners, I think he deserved this. Even if this movie was a bomb, that shouldn't prevent him from making anything. Because it's like, first of all, this movie was a cool movie. People seem to like it. I mean, it's a hard movie. It's
one of the biggest hits in recent memory where like critically, it's like a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then the audience score is also like a 95, 96%. And it's like, I don't think I've ever seen the scores that even that high in a long time.
And
Like, this is a hit, man.
It's an Oscar contender already. I mean, I think people are starting to ignore the thought of, oh, it came out too early. Because look at what Black Panther did, the other Coogler movie. Look at what Get Out did. Look at what Everything Everywhere All at Once did. This movie feels, the praise for this movie seems very similar for that. It doesn't feel inflated or anything. Like, this is a movie that we're going to be talking about for decades.
Yeah,
And
it's not hyperbolic in that way where it's like, oh, yeah, this is overrated. It's like, no, everybody who's seen it, regardless of how much hype was around it, they generally came out like, oh, yeah, this movie rocks.
yeah,
I love this film. Again, like you said, Ryan Coogler's that type of director where as soon as they said he was making a movie, I'm like, I'm there day one
yeah,
buying a ticket. And Michael B. Jordan in the dual roles of Smoke and Stack. My
great.
goodness, he's so good. And I love how he brings different energy to both of these
Yeah.
characters. And you can distinctly tell which is which for the most part. Once they take their hats off, I get a little confused. But outside of that, phenomenal. The entire cast is great. Haley Steinfeld, one of the best performances of her career.
Oh, yeah. Delroy Lindo.
Delroy, oh my gosh, he's so good. He's always good, but he's so freaking good. Back to the box office. Franklin Leonard had this tweet. I wonder if Variety covered Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which made 10% less at the domestic box office on a 10% more theaters and at the same budget with similar deal structure in the same way. Spoiler alert, they didn't. And that's where this article headline is very frustrating, where it's like, they don't cover other movies of similar status in the same way. Why are we targeting Sinners the way that we are? It feels gross. It feels weird. I don't like it. No disrespect to the person who actually wrote the article, because as we've said before, the person who makes the tweet is not the person who makes the article or the headline. And if you click the headline on the website, it's not reading that. It's just like Minecraft made a bunch of money and Sinners opened number one. So no hate to the person who wrote the piece. I am sorry that whoever runs the social medias decided to be messy. I don't wish that on you.
And
I
mean, I know I'm a white guy, but like, I feel like so many of these outlets constantly underestimate the success of the Black-led movies, because it's like, they're just like, oh, this movie's not going to be that popular. And then it is. I mean,
every time.
The only other filmmaker who's managed to have like original, complete non-IP, not based on any books, that has made movies open like big, is Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Us made 71 million opening weekend. Also R-rated, also an original movie. I mean, I won't go on about it because I mean, that's not my
stand on
place
your
to say.
soapbox.
But
Go ahead. It's okay.
It's telling. I mean, they're constantly underestimating it. It feels a little white liberally as well, because it's just like, nah, we don't want those movies from Black artists. Go back to making other ones.
It's so strange because it shows how hard people of color have to work to get the same status. You know, like, no disrespect, but Zack Snyder can make 5 bombs in a row and he will still get like Netflix deals to make the next Rebel Moon. You know, like, I'm not taking a shot at Zack Snyder personally, but it's just telling how it's like Ryan Coogler makes one original film after making 2 Marvel movies, mind you, 2 massive hits. And we're instantly like, yes, but it didn't make its money back in 3 days over Easter weekend with a movie called Sinners. Maybe people were avoiding it a little bit that week. I don't know. But it's a shame. It's frustrating. I'm glad that he is still getting the support and the love that he deserves, though. Fantastic film, fantastic script. I'm so glad also he gets to own his film rights in like 2 decades. I love that story as well, where it's like, yeah, he's going to go down as making one of the best like modern horror thriller movies. And then he gets to own all of the royalties later. That's so cool.
I think one of the theories around this reporting is like maybe Warner Brothers paid off some of these outlets because they don't want it to look like the movie succeeded, because then they'll get other filmmakers being like, oh, I want that kind of deal. Even though there's a very specific reason why, and Ryan Coogler has talked about it, why he wanted ownership on that movie. It goes with the theme of the movie. It makes complete sense. It would feel a little weird if
he wants to own his art. Yeah, for sure.
if he asked for that and the studio was like, nah.
Yeah.
That just shows they were like, oh, we love this script. And he's like, cool, can I own it in 25 years? And they said no. It's like, I thought you loved the script. Then you're not. It flew over their head.
Yeah. That tends to happen a lot with movies like this, where like the message gets lost. It loses the plot. But, you know, I'm glad he got it. I do think he's not even the first person to get a deal like this. I'm pretty sure Mel Gibson did the same with Passion of the Christ, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. There's a lot of filmmakers. Again, Tarantino did it with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mel Gibson did it with Passion of the Christ. There's a couple of other examples. Like, I know Francis Ford Coppola, he like owns Megalopolis. That movie sucked though, so
he can keep it.
And nobody saw it. So
yeah. It's cool. Again, Sinners, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Phenomenal movie. I'm so jealous that you got to see it in 70 millimeter. The one thing you know how passionate Coogler was about this project. Like when he releases a 10-minute video explaining all of the different formats and how you can watch the film, that might have been the single greatest piece of marketing I have seen in the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only is he breaking down the difference of IMAX and standard or 70 mil or Dolby, he's also not like belittling one format or the other. He's like, if you can see it this way, this is how it's going to be presented to you. And it was just a really great lesson on not just filmmaking, but why we have all these different premium formats. And I think stuff like that is going to make people appreciate the theater experience so much more. Because why would I want to watch on my little phone here Sinners when I can go see it in IMAX, in Dolby, in 70 mil, and enjoy it that way, the way he wants you to see it.
And I think him using himself to even market his movie, this goes back to me ranting about the studio, but like I was talking to my dad because I was trying to get him, I'm seeing it in 70 mil, like I said, tomorrow. And my dad was like, oh, can you try to get me a ticket? He's like, would I like this? I'm like, yeah, it's the guy who made Creed. He's like, oh, I like that. Yeah. And then Black Panther, he's like, oh, I like that. I'll probably like this. And I'm like, yeah, you probably will. Yeah, the art should go to the artist. It's not like it's not like people are seeing, oh, a new Warner Brothers movie. I gotta see that. You know what they did with The Flash?
Oh gosh.
Did you see the Alto Nights? A great Warner Brothers production.
The only studios that might have that kind of pull are over at Disney, right? Like, oh, a new Marvel Studios thing is out, I'm going to see that. Or, oh, a new Pixar thing is out, I want to see that.
A24 kind of is like that. They have their really vocal fan base, but I think a coworker of ours, Ross, he brought up even recently that they're kind of losing it too because they're just pushing out so many movies. Where it's like falling under the radar. But they used to be like that because I had friends who texted me. It's like, oh, does A24 only do horror? And I'm like, no, they do more than that.
A24 used to feel like an event because I think they would drop like 5 movies max a year at one point.
Yeah.
But now we're dipping into the like 7, 8, 10 range. It's like
no, they do like 1 or 2 a month.
Yeah, that's way too many. To keep that level of prestige, obviously, get your money. Let the filmmakers make their movies. I'm not saying to stop, but they are losing that prestige that they were like the indie darling, and now it's like, oh, you're no longer an indie. You are just a studio. Got it.
We gotta go see that new Netflix movie.
Said no one ever. Speaking of seeing new movies, last topic of the show. What's out this weekend? Big movie coming out this week. It's already out by the time you were listening to this. It's The Accountant 2. Nate, you saw this.
Yes.
Talk to us.
I saw it over a month ago at the world premiere at South by Southwest. So I saw it, and Ben Affleck, Jon Bernthal, they were there. Also, Matt Damon was there sitting next to Ben Affleck. He like flew in from the set of The Odyssey. It's kind of surreal. I really like that first movie where Ben Affleck plays a man on the autism spectrum, but he is an accountant who kind of moonlights, and he does the books for some shady corporations, and he's doing this as a way to exact revenge. He's a vigilante of sorts. The sequel takes it a bit lighter. So this is shown in the trailer. It is not a spoiler. J.K. Simmons' character from the first movie is killed off. And so Ben Affleck is brought back in, and he recruits his estranged older brother, who's played by Jon Bernthal, who's also a hitman. They go on this new quest to uncover this conspiracy.
So it sounds like it's giving buddy cop.
It is. It is.
I love it.
Much lighter than the first movie. It kind of leans a little more comedic, but it's like, if you like that first movie like I did, you won't be let down by this. It's a lot of fun, and I think so much of it works because Affleck and Jon Bernthal, yeah, just like that quote, their chemistry is just incredible. Yeah, Ben Affleck line dances in this.
I'm sold.
And that's the best scene in the movie. I'm not even lying. It's like, it's so good, and I feel like I know a lot of people on the autism spectrum. And I know there were some people who had problems with the first movie and its depictions of it. Oh, there's my name. Oh.
Hey.
I know there's some people who had problems with it. This movie makes improvements. Especially in depicting Ben Affleck's character. He doesn't just feel like one note anymore. They show him doing day-to-day things. He goes like speed dating on it. There we go, exhilarating. He goes speed dating. He goes line dancing, and he's kind of awkward, but it's like, who isn't awkward in that kind of situation? Right. And he's just very, very likable. And I think, yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It's not high art, but neither was the first movie. Yeah. It's like, it's just a good time, and I'm glad I have it because it's taken almost it's been nearly 9 years since that first movie, and I've been dying for a sequel. I'm glad we finally got it, and I think we're going to get the third movie much sooner. So
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did not think this movie was going to happen because it feels like it's been in development since the first one came out. Like, it's not like, oh, they announced this a year ago and they started working on it. This has been like just on the back burner for Ben Affleck for like 10 years. So when we finally got word that they were filming, I'm like, oh, that's actually happening. Oh, that's cool. I did enjoy the first one. Go.
The first was a Warner Brothers movie. So the Warner Brothers fanboy, he goes out to see the Alto Nights because of Warner Brothers. Why not see this? This one's Amazon. It was supposed to be a streaming movie, actually. And then it, much like what happened with Ben Affleck's Air, the Michael Jordan movie, much like what happened with Paramount and Smile, or there's a lot of movies that have gone through this. Evil Dead. That was the other one. So this movie was meant for streaming. Now it's getting a theatrical release, and for good reason. I think it's a fun movie to see in the theater with like a crowd.
Also, the first one did well and it was in theaters, so it makes sense to, go for it again. If this one bombs, movie 3 can go to Prime Video, I guess, but like, it's not going to. It's not. Like, again, you guys are probably listening to this on a Monday morning. You know the box office. It's probably fine.
It's tracking like 23 million right now, which I don't think this movie was that expensive.
Yeah.
It's probably like 50 mil, so...
But Nate, it needs to make all of its budget back in its first 3 days. Remember?
I'm not going to see that for this movie.
Also coming up this week, Until Dawn, the adaptation of the beloved PlayStation video game franchise. This was coming out to mixed reviews. Have you seen it? Do you know anybody who has? Like, what's the consensus on this one?
I have not seen it. My buddy Jeremy has, who he loves that original video game. He's like played and replayed it so many times. He saw it. He loves this game. He did not like this movie.
Oh, well, that tells you all you need to know, I guess.
I like David F. Sandberg's all of his movies except for Shazam 2. So like when he was first announced, I was like, oh, he's going back to horror. It will be interesting to see how he does it. Trailers did nothing for me. Kind of looks like just a typical teen slasher horror movie.
Yeah, the trailers were mid, quite frankly. If you guys want a better video game adaptation, we do have The Last of Us Episode 3. Usually we're not going to just talk about, unless it's a premiere, we're not going to have TV shows in this segment. But shameless plug, if you're listening to this, we do have another podcast, Beyond the Clickers. We're talking about The Last of Us every single week. Again, this is in your feed on Monday morning. We're going to be streaming live Monday night, talking about episode 3 of Tilu. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the show with the stuff we've been watching. But again, Bella Ramsey, so good. I can't wait to see what Bella does with the character of Ellie going forward and the rest of this series. I'm hyped.
So good.
It's going to be great. I think I haven't seen episode 3. We're going to review that. If it's not great, we're definitely going to talk about that on Beyond the Clickers. So make sure you guys subscribe. Check that out. It's going to be in the Chatter After podcast feed. Nate, this is our inaugural show of Insider Chatter. Where can the folks find you, man?
You can find me across all social media on at Nate Knows Movies. So, except on Instagram, I'm at NateRichard98.
You can find me at Novice Cinephile pretty much everywhere except for Instagram and Threads, where it's the Novice Cinephile. I can't get the name. The person will not let me buy it. It's a shame. Is what it is. Again, this has been Insider Chatter, where we're talking everything in the world of movies, TV. Have a fun time. We're going to be back next week with another episode. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.